I just want to tell you guys that we are getting our shit together. We're finding our groove. We've changed up a little bit of our approach. So these are still going to be reviews, but what we're going to do is have a theme every week. So that we can really kind of focus on that, but we're still going to dive into the brand, and we're really going to use whatever brand we're talking about that week as an example. So I think this is still going to be really useful for you, but instead of, you know, talking about the same 8 elements of traffic and content and branding and everything real generically every week, we thought it would be funner to have a theme. So today's theme is how to find your one-of-a-kind niche. All right, and we are going to be breaking down Laura's blog, Life Flavor Lemonade. So let me actually pop that in the chat, and you guys can follow along.
Beautiful sign for the replay viewers.
I love it. I told Daniela that's what we're doing. We're just going to be sign holders because I think it's fucking hilarious and a lot easier. All right, so flavored, and I can't spell. Sorry, guys.
Which is a great blog name, by the way. I love that name, Life Flavored Lemonade.
I love it. And Laura is friggin' awesome. We were emailing last week, and she is spicy, and she is sweet and sour. That's why the blog name like fits her like a friggin' glove.
That's awesome.
All right, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go through her story and some of her struggles really quickly, and her dream is real quick. I'm going to read what she left on the blog, and then we're going to dive in with some talking points, right? And again, it's all going to be wrapped around how to find a one-of-a-kind niche. And I hear a little echo again. Oh, no. All right. So this is, like I said, lifeflavoredlemonade.com, and its brand owner is Laura Pollock. So here's a little bit. So she started her blog in the hopes of making some passive income so she can be a stay-at-home mom for her daughter. Her goal is to have her income dialed in full time within the next 578 days, which is the first day her daughter would start kindergarten. So she's not fucking around. Really, she just wants to build a brand that's going to support her and her daughter so that she can, you know, be with her daughter, pick her up for school, do all the fun things. And I know a lot of us are in that boat, that we're creating these businesses for the lifestyle so that we have freedom in our lifestyle. And so we have security in our lifestyle for our kids and our families and all that stuff. So I love her story. I love her hustle and commitment. Like, she's not fucking around. 578 days, like, she's going to get it done. And I know she is. So her goal is to really be, you know, a resource for advice. So she wants people to say, oh, let's check out what Life Flavored Lemonade has to say and see if they have something to say about that, right? So her target audience is primarily women. And she writes a lot of blogs from the perspective of being a single mom because that's what she knows best. That's what she does on a daily basis. So she really wants to kind of become a resource and a place for single mothers to bond, vent, share stories, share tips, like all the good shit that they struggle with on a daily basis, like what life's all about. So her dream biz, I like this part, and we're going to circle back to this. Her dream biz is to have 3 or 4 different sites, all with different topics that she could market using, you know, these different areas of the business. For instance, she'd have one for recipes, one for homemaking, one for toddler and kids education, one for travel, and so on and so forth, right? She just really wants the income coming in so that she could be the best mom she can to her little girl. So that's the backstory on Life Flavored Lemonade. And like I said, I talked to Laura, and she is the best kind of sweet and sour. So we love that name. All right, Danielle, so let's jump in. I've got her window open here. But the first thing I want to talk about, because we're talking about niche, let's talk about what it is to just have the niche. Like, why the hell does it matter? I know that this word gets on a lot of people's nerves. Like, it's just like we hear it all the time, right? Really hypey, like, find your niche, find your niche. You got to have that perfect personal avatar, right? Like, I can't stand that shit. But I realized in the last 2 years how important that shit really is. So what I know you do a lot to help people figuring out what that is. So talk a little bit about, like, why the hell it actually matters despite hating that stupid hypey word.
So I think it matters. I think about it like the Starbucks phenomenon, where every time you go to Starbucks, you know what you're going to get. It's very consistent, and that's why people come back. And I think that you can think of your niche as your version of Starbucks. What do people consistently get when they come back to your blog? And I feel like I know so many bloggers want to write about so many, like everything in their life because they're very multidimensional. But when you think about a niche, you're thinking about it from your audience's perspective, and you're creating a place where they know that it's for them. They know that they're going to get content on topics that they care about. So you're kind of creating a customized experience for a certain group of people. And so instead of thinking about it as getting narrowing down that you can't help everyone or that you can't write about what you really want to write about, I think of it as just figuring out your superpowers and going full force ahead and just becoming known for them. So it's really just taking that superpower and focusing on that and then forgetting about everything else. Does that make sense?
I think that's the bottom line, is that really what a niche does is it dictates everything you do, from your signature style to your content. What it does is it helps you get that tunnel vision that you actually do need to stay on point, right? So me and Daniela have this rant that we do all the time. Like, here's the deal. If you're blogging in the name of brand building, you can't talk about anything that you fucking want. Like, you can't talk about your dog. Nobody gives a shit. Like, you have to stay on topic. You have to stay on task. That doesn't mean you can't tell funny stories. You can't wrap it around personal experiences, and that you should have a sense of humor or be you. But you can't just like, oh, today I'm going to go hiking, so let's talk about a fucking hike. Like, if that doesn't have to do with your brand, then you can't do it. And what a niche does is it's a checks and balances, right? So does this match what I'm all about? Everything should come back to that. Everything should come back to be an extension of that niche, right? So I want to talk about, I've said this before, I think Mariah Cause kind of wrapped the formula of a niche the best way, because I think it's applicable, and two, it's not so dry and formulaic. But what she says, and this is dead on, okay, so what a niche really is, and we're talking about this, Laura, because this is one thing that I think that you're missing. I think that you have so many of the pieces together for the blog, but when I hear you say that you want to have 4 different blogs, I'm here to tell you that you're gonna be fucking exhausted, and that's like spreading yourself way too thin. So here's what you want to do instead: is you want to niche down. You want to find your perfect one-of-a-kind niche. Okay, so this is how Mariah breaks it down. A niche is your life's obsession, whatever the hell you're just crazy obsessed with, plus your superpower, like your skill, that shit that you know dead on, plus a specific group of peeps. That's really it. And that really is. It's like, what do you geek out on? What are you just super epic at? Like, you just know your shit about this. And who do you love to hang out with? Who do you want to talk to? Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to engage with? Specific peeps. Okay, so let's use Laura as an example. All right, so she's obsessed with making the best out of life, right? I mean, turning the lemons that life gives you into lemonade and laughing about that shit, okay? Now, her superpower, I know in her day job, she's a trainer or teacher, okay? So obviously, you know your shit, and she loves her day job, which is super rare, right, Daniela? Most of us who have the day job are like, fuck the day job. But this girl loves her day job. So obviously she's really good at training, right? So she's good at teaching people shit and talking to people and comfortable talking to people, okay? And then her peeps are single moms. That's what you're looking for, Laura. You're looking for an umbrella that you can put all those recipes and those kids' education and all of the things that you want to do. You want to wrap those around who you're talking to and what you're talking to them about. That's it. That's really the magic of creating a one-of-a-kind. And that's what I mean. Like, I hope that some of you rolled your eyes at this like one-of-a-kind shit, honestly, because I love pushback and I hate hypey shit. And I felt like for a hot minute that was hypey. But here's why I'm not apologizing for it. Because what I mean by creating your own perfect, one-of-a-kind is that, here's the deal, right? There's tons of mommy bloggers or parenting blogs, right? There's even tons of parenting blogs that are specifically for single mothers. And there's a ton of parenting blogs that are for single mothers that aren't that typical Susie homemaker shit, which is Laura, like I said, she's spicy and sassy. And so how do you get attention? How do you get exposure and visibility when you're falling into a big ass bucket of mommy bloggers? You make your niche. You make that shit. You separate it by your approach and your story and your style and the way you talk, your vernacular, what you talk about. That is a one of a kind. If you fall in and you get vanilla and you do the same shit that everybody else is doing, you're not going to stand out at all. You want to push back a little bit. You want to be different. You want to do things on your own terms because that's the shit that's unique. It's you. You're in the middle of that solution or that niche, that extension that everything comes from. You're the nucleus of it. And you have all these unique things about you. You have to incorporate that into your niche. So sorry, I know I'm yammering a ton, Daniela, like pipe in on that.
That's okay. So I actually, what I'm thinking about is why people struggle with this, because it's when you hear that formula, it seems very straightforward. And I also have my own formula for figuring out your mission statement, which is you know your topic I teach about, and then your topic, for, and then your audience, and then you say by, and then you say your unique angle, and then because, and then your purpose, because I think the purpose is important as well. Mm-hmm. But I think that where people get stuck is they always second guess themselves, and they always think that, oh, my superpower isn't really a superpower, or my obsession isn't something that people really care about, or it's something that I'm not actually an expert on, so I feel uncomfortable focusing on that. So, right. Or with the audience, they think, single moms, that cuts out so many people, and I don't want to cut out that many people. I want anyone to be able to come to my blog and be able to get something out of it. And I've even talked to a lot of people who do narrow their niche, and then after they do, they're like, yeah, but I've also gotten single dads coming over, so I'm thinking of not writing to single moms anymore. So I think that for Laura, sorry. I think if you can and I also think that making life flavored lemonade, like making lemonade out of lemons, I think that's a great tone and a great angle. I'm not sure that it's specific enough when it comes to a topic. So right. And I think that when you get really specific about your topic, you'll be surprised at how many different ideas you come up with. So what do you think about that, Dre?
Well, yeah, that's kind of like the next talking point that we want to dive into is that I am a firm believer in the tagline, and I don't think the tagline is like some end all be all. What I think it does is it helps, like, so her name is Life Flavor Lemonade, and exactly, like, who is it for, right? So I think the tagline is, and that's what you trained so well in that formula that you just used when it's really topic-based and purpose-based, is what you want to do for your tagline, so that people, when they land on your site, can figure out what you're about in a millisecond. And that's what I think the bonus of having a tagline and everything is. But that's the other part of the niche that you just talked about, Daniela, is that it will help you create categories. Okay, so let's talk about how to take Laura's niche and then now give her categories. So, like I said, you can umbrella this out, like to all your topics about kids education and all that stuff later on. But when you're starting out, start with 3 to 5 topics. Like Daniela said, that stem from your superpowers and your purpose, the purpose, like who you're trying to reach. What are they struggling with? What are they talking about? What do they want to read about? What would make them laugh on a shitty day? Or how can you make your shitty day funny that everybody's like, dude, that was my day 3 days ago. Like, fuck, what's up with that? Like when our kids are being assholes or, whatever it is, you want to do that, but you want to start small, because here's the great thing, is as your tribe finds you and as you really build a tribe and a community and peeps really get to know you and love you, then you can expand things. But when you're starting out, start really focused with your categories and let your niche and superpower and all that other good stuff dictate what those are. So, for instance, I know I loved your latest post, Laura, on what do you call it, the B word, right? You know, any like implicate or what do they call that, Daniela? Like any hints of a bad word or any like way that you can twist that.
Innuendos.
Yes, that's the word. I'm like, couldn't think of it. I love that shit. And that is so your personality. So just like that, it's like create your categories, name them funny shit that has your voice, your brand voice. You know, think of them in terms of like, what are the 3 to 5 things that who you want to reach are struggling with that you can teach them. And the side note on what you said, Daniela, is your rant about people second guessing. Nobody's going to give you fucking permission to do shit. Just know that. Like, nobody's going to give you permission to pick a niche. Nobody's going to tell you, like, oh, you're certified. You're now a fucking expert. Like, nobody's going to tell you that. You have to own this shit. And I talked to Laura about this a little bit last week. Like, don't worry about people who are going to like you. You're not catering to them. They don't matter. They're not less than. They're just not your peeps. So don't worry about it. Focus in. That niche is going to help you find your voice. It's going to help you find your style. It's going to help people find you. And I think that's the one piece that you're missing. You need to step back a little bit and you need to find that nucleus, which is really, I think, is a niche because everything branches off from that. Right, Daniela?
Yeah, I think that, and I think we can give you permission. Dre and I give you permission to have your own niche. So we're giving you permission, but you also have to give yourself that permission. And I think when it comes to the categories, just to go back to your blog, you have a lot of categories here: blogging, cleaning, finances and budgeting, home remedies, etc. And I would say the less, the better. And I'm a big fan of getting very specific. And I've noticed that you're very good at organizing, which is something that I always notice because I suck at organizing. So I have a deep respect for people who are good at it. And I think even within that one category, you could break it out in so many ways. Organizing for meal planning, organizing for your kids, and how to organize your kids' room to make it neat, and how to keep your kids organized. I think that there's just so many specific, like if you take one broad category and you get even more specific, like you could have 3 subcategories within that, which would be organizing with kids, organizing with food, organizing with budget. So I would say the more specific you can get, the better.
Yeah, and I like that. Like you said, it's not that the categories should limit you. They should keep you organized. And I like how you said, like, organizing can be done in 5 different ways. And that's really what you want. Like, pick 3 to 5 and let that guide you for the next 6 months at least as you build traction. Like, the more you want your peeps to be familiar with you and kind of almost know what you're going to come out with because they know you so well. And that's, you know, that's communicated in your voice and everything like that. But if every week it's like kind of jarring and it's like, oh, that's weird. Last week we were talking about, stay on track long enough to give people that chance to really get familiar with you. And like I said, you can branch out as the brand grows and as you grow your traction. Because here's the other great part is the niche is going to bring that organization and that clarity to your brand that allows people to find you. And guess what? When those people find you and fall in love with you, they're going to tell you exactly what the fuck they want next. Like, they're going to tell you, like, they're going to share a situation. Like I said, like, I was driving, you know, Billy to school today, and I get there, and like all these moms paid, you know, $1,000 for the, seriously, this is one of my friends' rants. Like, these bitches bought these like really expensive treats, and like my poor son came with like this homemade DIY shit that I made him, and it's like the whole like mommy time where everybody's like, it's like a weird dynamic, but the kids are playing, like there's so many things. They'll share a story with you, and then you can turn that into, oh, well, you don't even know what happened to me with the mommies when I brought, you know, Billy to the slide. Like, there's so many ways that they'll share stories that you'll be able to bond. That's such a personal part of life that if you really put yourself out there and you're really honest to who you are, you're going to find the moms that are like, this lady speaks my language. She is talking about the shit that I'm doing. She is laughing at herself when I was in the corner wrapped up in a ball, like wanting to cry out of embarrassment. This lady just like broke it down. And that's what I can totally see for you. And that's why I want you to take a step back, and really implement all these things to get things more clear for your brand. So last talking point, Danielle, let's talk about the visual style. Let's talk about the design and the branding elements from a visual place. So what are your thoughts on this, Daniela?
I feel like it's a great start, and I like the color palette. It's bright and consistent. I do think that there's a lot of room to do more with it. I'd love to see some more pictures, and I've done an exercise with my 10-day blog makeover challenge. If your blog was a place, where would it be? And creating a Pinterest board.
That one.
Yeah, and it really it's for non-branding badasses like me. It really helps me. When I did this for my blog, it really helped me figure out the emotion. And that's the other thing I want to talk about, that with branding, with visual branding, I think, or I guess with content as well, you really want to think about how do I want my readers to feel when I'm on my blog, and so, or when they're on my blog. So as Dre was saying, if you are all about the sweet and sour, very great sense of humor, and you want to have a really light and off-the-cuff tone, then you can choose visuals and colors and fonts that convey that emotion. So I know, Dre, that you're going to talk a lot about the specifics, but just going from a broad perspective, figuring out the place that your blog would be and figuring out the emotion and the tone, I think would be a great jumping off point. And that also is a part of defining your niche, is figuring out how you want people to feel and the unique feeling that people get when they're on your blog.
I love that. I think that is a perfect place for you to start, Laura, is the Hangout spot. All right. So, I mean, there's so many ways you can take this. I mean, you could, in theory, like, you know, you could, I think you have a daughter. Sorry, I might be fucking this up, but I think you have a daughter. And, you know, you could build her a little lemonade stand and then take some pictures of you, like, you know, with like toilet paper coming out of your straw. I mean, there are so many ways. And then look at that hangout spot that you have. You know, if it's a backyard barbecue, if it's, you know, the park with the kid, you know, whatever, look around. Those are the same elements to infuse in your brand, the same colors, the same textures, the same elements. So you could make it really kid-like and playful. You could make it really silly and like I said, like the lemonade stand gone wrong. There are so many ways to take this, but I think Daniela nailed it. I think if you get on Pinterest, you create a board and you really figure out where you want to hang out with these peeps, where do you and these single moms like want to chomp it up with some vodka flavored lemonade. Maybe, you know, and start there. I think it's a great place because you have a good start with the visual branding, but you really need to, I want you to, if you don't already have the quick and dirty guide to branding for solopreneurs, I want you to grab that. I'll put that link in the comments in a sec. I want you to go through that because I want you to work on your style guide and I want you to work on defining these things. I see that you have a submark in your image, but you can't even see the name, girl. So we want to work on that. And I'll give you a free tip here on the header. No bueno on using, you know, that small image in the big thing. You want that chevron pattern to be your whole header. You want a tagline under your name. So you have the foundation. And why I made this show about find your niche is because that is going to guide you. That is going to help you with your categories, with your color palette, with your logo. It's going to help you with everything. And that's why I want you to take a step back and I want you to go through that guide because it does start at the discovery phase. And I want you to do a little bit more work on deciding what this brand is really going to be about, who it's going to be about, and what it's going to be, you know, geared towards. And then follow that process to come up with all your visual assets. And the last thing, I forgot my notes. I also want you to focus on creating a list and your tribe, because that's how I think you're going to get a lot of that engagement and get a lot of feedback from your peeps. So, think about creating, where did I put it? Think about creating a one, just one. And this is what all brands need to do, not 18 different opt-in offers, one killer offer. The only really, really big opt-in I had last year was the guide. Like, I focus on promoting the shit out of that. And that's what every brand needs, and that's what you need. So think about, where did I put it? Think about creating an opt-in. Where did I have that, Danielle? I can't even come up with any of my... I had a name for you, but it was like, the 8 mindsets that the single, what did I... Oh my God, I'm like the worst. I'm like the worst note taking too. Oh well, but I'll think about it when you come on. But Laura, like, pop on with us. Like, I want to get some feedback from you on what you think and answer any other questions that you have.
I found it here, what you wrote. The sweet and sour guide to keeping your single mama sanity.
Yeah. Like something like that.
That's
like
awesome.
Put the personality into it. Hello.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
She didn't know if she was going to be able to make it. I'm like, come on, just sneak it over. Just a little bit.
That's exactly what I did. I'm good. How are you?
Good. So
Good.
we talked a lot. I know I'm a yammer.
It's okay.
What are your thoughts? So about everything we said?
I'm totally blown away. I was literally sitting here the whole time. I've got like 5 pages of notes, and I'm super excited. I know you guys couldn't see me, but I was over here and I'm like, yeah. And I'm like,
my girl.
It was amazing. So I want to thank you so much.
Good. You're so welcome. But you totally get what we're saying, right? So take that step back and really let that kind of drive you and help you with the overwhelm and kind of the clarity. Because I think that's one piece. You have it. It's like, I think you even have your voice down and the personality. It's just a matter of like infusing that into everything you do and staying really firm. Like I granted to you in the email and I said, girl, you have to get to like unapologetic. Like, I am who I am. If you don't like me, like judge. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck them.
And that's usually the attitude I have too, is I tell people at work all the time, I'm like, don't judge me. And then I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. Judge the shit out of me.
Right. That's what you want. And I think like you can be the forefront of that movement of like the non-Susie homemaker, like, look, I like some lemonade or vodka flavored lemonade. And it's all me sippy cup when we go to the park. Like, I think you have that personality. It's like, so many people struggle with that individuality and that uniqueness, and it's like, I don't have a sense of humor. I don't have this. Like, girl, you already have it. Like, you're ahead of the game as far as like you already have a lot of shit that will separate you and help you stand out. Now you need to put those pieces in the rest of the biz.
Awesome.
I'm wondering how you feel about doing this, like how you feel about narrowing, what you've been thinking about in terms of your categories.
Like,
I'm pretty excited. So one of the things that I want to do is, I know I've got, like you said, like the organizing, but I also have meal planning and recipes and all of that. I'm going to spend a lot of time figuring out what I want my 3 to 5 main categories be, and then be able to plug in some other things, as sub categories into those as well. So I'm learning a lot about how to design the website and make changes and, make the header bigger and things like that. Not really my forte, but I'm getting there.
Yes. I know. We all been there, done that. All of us.
Yeah.
And this is a huge learning curve. You know that, but don't let the overwhelm set you back. Like, take it one step at a time. Like I said, don't get sucked into the learning thing either. Like, feeling like you have to learn everything, or that rant that Daniela said, like waiting for someone to give you permission to do shit. And
exactly.
And the other thing I want you to make sure is that you have, whether it's one of me or Daniela's community, or I want you to make sure you have a support system, because you need that. You need people that are going to pipe in on the different designs and the assets that you want to define. They'll give you tons of feedback. Both of our communities are great for that. So make sure that you have a support system too, because I know we're all solopreneurs, but like, you gotta have peeps behind you, and like, they're gonna tough love you and like give it to you straight and help you. So make sure that you're part of something that's gonna help you on the biz side of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Perfect.
And when it comes to learning, I think if you just figure out like what do I actually really need to learn right now, because I know in the online world you can learn a million things all the time and it's so overwhelming. So I feel like if you just say, okay, what I'm learning now is how to narrow my focus. That's all I'm going to focus on. Then the next thing, I'm going to learn how to make a header. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
absolutely. Baby steps and line things out for each day. You know what I mean? Like today, all you're doing, header, like she said, like today, that's it. Like, you don't fall into the bright lights online. Don't read all the new blog posts that came out. Like, stay focused. I know with your daughter and the day job, you don't have a lot of time for this. So I think the key for you is just focus, and give yourself permission to do this one baby step at a time and not feel like you got to have them all the ducks in a row and all your shit done.
Yeah.
But I'm stoked. Like I said, you're right there, girl. Like you just gotta get some shit done and get out there.
Yep. Hammer home.
There. Yep. Absolutely. I'm so glad that we could dive in your brand. You know where to get a hold of me, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
Same thing with Daniela. Do you have your handy little hold up, Daniela?
Oh yeah. So
this is our it's a call to action, guys, right here.
So if you want to talk or get mentoring from me or Dre, this is me, danielauslin.com/chat. You may not even be able to read it because I have horrible handwriting. And there's Dre's, which is bit.ly/branding-mentorship. I don't know if it looks backwards to you, but
no, it doesn't. I can read it.
We can totally read it. I am so glad that we jumped into your brand today.
Oh, me too. I feel like I've met like rock stars. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, look at that, Daniel. I'm adding that shit to my portfolio. Rock star.
I know. I'm gonna write that testimonial on my website.
That's awesome.
Totally. Well, you guys both rock. Thank you for everybody that watched. Hopefully this is a little bit easier to follow with the themes. So if you guys have a theme, same thing, pop it in the community. Tell us what theme you want us to tackle. Hit us up with questions. But nonetheless, we will be back same time, same place next week. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.